What's going on, guys? Roger here with QVO Tactical. In today's video, we have something pretty amazing to show you guys. Have any of you out there ever noticed that when you're playing Call of Duty and you're using a rifle with a scope equipped, that it just magically zooms in and out without the character having to bring their support hand back to the magnification ring on the scope? Don't you think that this would be pretty great if something like this existed in the real world? This is where the great minds of Antimatter Industries come in. Yes, the suspense and the teasing is finally over. In today's video, we are going to be showing you the very cool, the very slick, and the very new ScopeSwitch from Antimatter Industries. Now, as always, I like to tell you guys how I go about getting these products in for review. About a month ago, the team behind Antimatter Industries, which is also the same team behind Flux Defense, who are great friends of the channel, they gave me a call and they told me about a project that they were working on. They let me know that they were coming out to Vegas and asked if we could hit the range to film some content. A fun range day with great friends is always something I am down for. So the guys headed out from Utah and met up with me earlier this month here in Vegas. Before coming out, they told me, hey, we're going to bring you one of our new scope mounts as well. This is all that they told me. When they showed up to my house a couple of weeks ago, they put one of their rifles in my hand with a ScopeSwitch equipped, and I didn't think anything of it until they told me to pull my support hand back. An immediate smile came to my face, and I was totally blown away. I immediately started showing the guys in the shop, and they were all amazed at how cool the ScopeSwitch was. So the Flux Defense and Antimatter Industries crew completely surprised me and brought this out earlier this month. They gifted this one to me for this video and for future content. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get into the specs of this new offering from Antimatter Industries. The all-new ScopeSwitch is the first product to launch from the newly formed company Antimatter Industries. It is a completely new scope mount design with the very unique feature of being able to manipulate the LPVO's magnification while still maintaining a support hand grip on the handguard of your rifle. It is constructed of 7075 T6 aircraft grade aluminum along with 4140 steel components. This is to ensure durability, something that you will see in their torture test video for sure. Even the cable wire is on the more robust side of things, having over 130 individual strands to give it that extra strength. It is also very lightweight, coming in at only 6.3 ounces, which is lighter than many other duty mounts on the market. The sliding mechanism and channeling only add an additional 4 ounces to the overall weight. The ScopeSwitch will be offered in both a 30mm and a 34mm size with black and tan color options and a price point of about $600. The entire unit is all mechanical. There are no electronics involved, not yet anyway. There are plans for an electronic version down the road. Additionally, if for some reason the sliding mechanism was to ever fail, you are still able to manipulate the magnification ring in the traditional way when using an LPVO. Although after you watch the torture test video, guys, I think you're going to understand why this is not something that you need to worry about whatsoever. Now, when it comes to the installation, this is going to take a little bit of time. The Antimatter Industries team has a full dedicated installation video to walk you through the process on their website. I was fortunate enough that when the guys were visiting me here in town, they were able to install this in about 15 minutes for me right here in my garage. Okay, now before we get into the range footage, I know some of you already are questioning the durability of this project. Come back up from the comment section, hold on for 1 second. The Antimatter Industries team already has you covered in regards to durability, guys. They have torture tested the crap out of this thing. As you can see here, they have thrown it to extreme heights while allowing it to crash into the pavement. They have run it over with the truck, and they have packed the cable channel full of dirt, mud, and rocks, and man, does the ScopeSwitch just continue to work. If you watch the full video of their torture test, you're going to see pretty much the only thing that didn't break on the gun was the ScopeSwitch and the scope itself. Okay, let's get into what you all came here to see now, the range footage. As always, I like to record our first rounds with the new product, so here is that footage. All right, guys, out on the range for the first rounds through the ScopeSwitch from Antimatter Industries. I've gotten to play with this at the house a little bit with the guys. They set it up for me, but now these are gonna be the first rounds through it. So running the 13.7 ADM and got some various targets out from like 25, 40, 50, and 100. But yeah, I'm pretty pumped on this. This is probably, like I said in studio, one of the coolest things I've seen in the last couple years. Here we go. Sheesh! All the way zoomed in. at 100 standing, and how quick it is, how much I'm not losing to having to come back here, hold the gun up at the wrist. I can just actuate everything from here. And then I'm also, like they were saying, you're gonna find yourself using the 2, the 3, the 4 magnification more than you normally would. Typically I leave this at like 5 or 6 and then just kind of rock to the offset. But now with being able to so quickly on gun, just transition all the way to 100 and then back out to 1. Dude, this is sweet. Definitely something you guys are going to want to check out after this video, but we're going to put this thing through the paces out here on the range, and we're going to get into, they did a crazy torture test video as well that we will showcase in this video. But with that being said, let's get to it. Now, we spent most of this range day filming a different unreleased product, so I didn't get a whole lot of time to spend with the ScopeSwitch during this range session. I did get in a few reps of shooting targets at varied distances though, just for the Antimatter Industries team to use in some of their media content. I did, however, bring our COD mount with one of our out-of-ball illumination AI1 LEP heads because it started getting dark. Using the COD mount with the ScopeSwitch and the AI1 head, I was able to shoot different steel targets from 25 yards all the way out to 100 yards in almost complete darkness with no issues whatsoever. Now, of course, I wanted to spend more time on the range with the ScopeSwitch, so Gil and I headed back out to our shooting spot last week. The first thing I wanted to do was get this gun properly zeroed. We didn't have enough time during the first range session to get a proper zero, but luckily it was close enough for the previous footage that you've already seen. Alright guys, we are back out on the range with the Antimatter Industries ScopeSwitch. For this range day, I'm going to get this thing properly zeroed first. That first range day you guys saw was just a chance for me to get my first shots on camera and my initial thoughts with the product. On top of that, help the Antimatter team do some promotional stuff for marketing. But I'm going to zero this thing, get it zeroed out at 50 yards. We're just doing some 55 grain Wolf gold, and then I'm going to have Gil hop on after we get it properly zeroed and run some targets and get his first shots on it. But for right now, let's get this thing zeroed. Oh my gosh, when you guys see this, like, it is just, it's freaking cool to be able just to like actuate it back and forth. But I'll take my first group of 5 here, and then we'll go get this thing zeroed. Alright guys, so the wind is pretty gnarly out today, and it was kind of throwing the gun back and forth everywhere on my vise. So that was going to be these first 3 rounds here. So I kind of just waited for a lull in the wind, and then I was able to get these 3 right here. So I'll go off of these 2 here. Looks like I'm 2.5 inches left. So we need to go 2.5 right, and then 1, 2 inches down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright guys, finally got the zero that I'm going to be happy with. Even in all this wind, we were able to get in this little like 1/2 inch square, so definitely stoked with that. Now that that hard part's out of the way, let's get Gil up on the gun and get his first thoughts. Alright, we got Gil up now for his first rounds to the Antimatter Industries ScopeSwitch mounted up here on our ADM UIC. Gil, go ahead and just kind of mess with the zoom feature, get a feel for it. I know you got to play with it and shop a little bit, but you didn't actually get to shoot and run the zoom feature while engaging different targets. I'm gonna pan out here. So we got a close-up target, guys, and then we have some, we got one at 50, got one back at like 100, it was actually 119, and then it's like 75, and then 25, and then we have a little like falling tree at 25 as well. But I'm gonna get Gil here. Go for it, bud. Just kind of shoot the paper, maybe at 1x, and then zoom in to shoot the other targets. Go for it, on you. Dude, you hit all, including the 120.
Dude, that's so nice how fast you can zoom in and out from transition to transition, but that's awesome. Love it.
All right, so other than the product being really cool and very easy to use, some of you might be wondering, do you need this? I'm here to tell you, yes, you absolutely do, 100%. While Gil and I were out on the range, I wanted to run a drill where we shot at various targets from 10 yards all the way out to 120 yards. I wanted us to run the drill 2 times each, with us using the magnification ring in the traditional way for the first run, and then in the second run using the ScopeSwitch. All right, guys, while we're out here on the range, I wanted to run a drill to show 2 things. You guys earlier saw the torture test video from Antimatter Industries. You guys clearly see that the thing held up better than other components on the rifle. However, say something happened. Say maybe this got shot or something catastrophic happened and you didn't have the zoom feature, the sliding feature here on the ScopeSwitch, and you had to actuate it manually. You still could. So if it goes out, you can still actuate your LPVO manually. The other thing I want to do is run a drill shooting two rounds on paper and then 1 on each of the 4 larger steel targets. We have them all the way out from 25, 50, 75, and 120. And I'm going to run the drill 2 paper, 1 on each steel, while actuating manually the throw lever style zoom here with magnification. And then we're going to run the same drill, but using the slide mechanism on the ScopeSwitch. I think it goes without saying which is going to be faster. However, since we're out here on the range, we might as well try it. So first up, I will do with just the magnification on the magnification ring of the LPVO. Here we go. Stand by. Manually adjusting here. Boom. Zoom in further for 75. And then now the 100. Where are you? There we go. So 1494, and let's see, it should have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 3 misses for 1494. Obviously my accuracy is going to affect the time, but now let's see how we do with the ScopeSwitch. All right, so now the same drill with the ScopeSwitch, and maybe even a reload because I did not tack mag yet. So here we go. 1494 is the time to beat. Stand by. Where are you? And then boom to 100. So 1245, and I had the same thing, 3 misses. So definitely 2 seconds faster. Obviously if I would have got my hits on both runs, they'd both be faster. But being able to keep my hand out here, in addition to being able to actuate the magnification, take my shots, like I said in studio, you're gonna find yourself using like the 1.5, the 2, 3, 4, and 5 more. I'm noticing like when I wanna engage, you know, a 50-yard target, I'm only coming in there, which is at a 3. Versus how I normally just keep this at 5 or 6 and go between my 45-degree offset and the LPVO. But now I can bring it into 3, I go back out so I can get a bigger field of view. Coming in at 25, I'm only at 2.5. Then I want 75, I'm all the way at 6. And then coming in the full 100, I go to 8. But what's nice too is when I'm trying to find that 100-yard target or 120-yard target, I can use the scope zoomed all the way out to 1, find it, and then zoom in easily and take my shot. So, like I said, guys, it goes without saying, ScopeSwitch, being able to just change the magnification on the fly with your support hand still being on the handguard is a game changer. We're gonna have Gil try it out now, see what he thinks, have him run the same drill, and see what kind of times he's getting. All right, we got Gil up now. He is going to run the same drill. First run is going to be using the magnification ring on the LPVO itself. Go for it. Nice. Got to shoot the 100 or the 75. Time.
24:67.
How many shots?
7 shots.
So only 1 miss. Good job, dude. All right, let's run it with the ScopeSwitch now. All right, same drill using the ScopeSwitch now. Go for it.
can hit my shots. 26.99, 11 shots.
So slower, but because of the accuracy.
Yeah.
What do you think though? What's easier?
Oh, definitely this one. How fast you can zoom in and out to find the target and then zoom back in. Oh, that's what I love about this thing.
Now from this footage, you can definitely see that it's much easier to keep your support hand, or other strong hand, as Bill Rapier would say, gripped onto the handguard of your rifle. However, we also saw that accuracy matters, especially when you're shooting against the clock. With that being said, of course we had to give Gil another run. All right, Gil, here's your redemption run. Go for it, bud. Hey, nice, man.
1176.
Woo! So that was, the other one was like something in the 20s, right?
26.99.
There you go, dude. Feel better now?
Way better.
Alright guys, so my overall thoughts on the new ScopeSwitch. If you are not into things that are very easy and very convenient to use, then this product is not for you. Also, if you think that I'm just saying this because they gave me one, well, I have another 4 on order with them that I am happily paying for. With that being said, let's talk about price. I honestly think that $600 is very reasonable for this product. As I am diving more into the manufacturing process of my business, I am learning all about the upfront costs that come with developing new products. I'm honestly surprised that it's not more in the ballpark of like $800 to $1,000. When you really break it down, high-end mounts like this can cost up to $400, and so it's really only like a $200 premium for everything else that the ScopeSwitch offers. Now when it comes to ease of use with the ScopeSwitch, guys, it's very intuitive. When you put it into someone's hands that are familiar with a proper rifle grip, they will immediately find their support hand going into the thumb slider. You simply pull back and the magnification does its thing. It is important to note here that the tension in the slider is based on the tension from the magnification ring of the scope that you are using. We found that my primary arms PLX Compact 1:8 had a very fluid and easy to use magnification ring. They brought out some other scopes that gave much more resistance, so it's important to understand that the ease of use is partly dependent on the scope that you choose. Now, with how big of a success the Flux Defense Raider has been, it's no surprise to me that this team has once again knocked it out of the park with the Antimatter Industries ScopeSwitch. No more are the days of pretty much only using your LPVO at a 1x or a 6x magnification. As I stated earlier, I found myself using all of the different variable powers of magnification. The ScopeSwitch is very intuitive and it allows you to zoom in based on what you are seeing in real time, with both your strong hand and your support hand maintaining a firing grip. Follow-up shots and target transitions are also going to be much more efficient and quicker, all things you just saw in this video. Now, if you end up purchasing one of these and you find yourself on the range, I think one thing that you will notice immediately is how easy it is to get better positive identification, or PID, on your target while still maintaining your grip with your fire controls and support hand placement. If you look here, I have Gil down the street at about 100 yards away. If this was somebody on your property, if you live in like a rural area, or if you were in like a military or law enforcement setting as somebody on Overwatch, you're not going to be able to see what he is holding in his hand. Does he have an iPhone or does he have a blue Glock? In this scenario, Gil has a blue Glock, and because I'm able to zoom in with my support hand, I can easily start to see that around the 3 and 4 magnification levels, I start to see the Glock, and then I continue to zoom in and I can take a very accurate, well-placed shot if needed. Antimatter Industries has spent the last 2 years putting this product together and then taking the time to bring in extremely credible people to field test the product. One of them being Bill Rapier of Amtac Shooting and Amtac Blades. I know Bill personally, as I was given the opportunity to go and live and train with him for a week at a Surefire event. If you're not familiar with Bill Rapier, I will give you a quick rundown on his background. Bill is a former Navy SEAL with over a decade spent in DevGru. He has taken his experience and knowledge that he's gained from several deployments and shows how well the ScopeSwitch could have been used if it was implemented into combat situations during his deployments. Definitely check out the full Antimatter Industries ScopeSwitch video to see more about that. Now, because I'm going to get a lot of questions down below in the comment section, I do want to go over how I had this rifle set up for the range footage. I ran my ADM UIC Mod 2 Captain Quint Edition rifle. This is a 13.7 inch barrel that has a pin and welded Surefire war comp. We had the rifle set up in 2 different configurations for the range. The first being equipped with a Surefire SOCOM mini suppressor, Tech 15, and Adaball Illumination AI1 LEP head. The ScopeSwitch channel may take up a significant amount of room. I was still able to equip an IR laser device, weapon light, and button controls. The second configuration was minus the suppressor, and we used the new Surefire Mini Scout Turbo. This configuration kept the gun well balanced and very light. Now, as always, I do like to talk about some features that I would change to better fit my needs. The scope switch is awesome, and in my opinion, the only way I will be running an LPVO on a rifle moving forward. I would like to see in the future, though, different styles of the sliders for your support hand. I talked to the guys about this, and they said that since the slider is a screwed-on part, they would be able to manufacture different variations. I would personally like to see something like an upside-down finger stop, where it's flat on the front part and then flat on the back side, and then a center rising piece. The current slider works just fine. However, I did notice that with other scopes that have a stiffer magnification ring, I did find some discomfort when I hit the slider at like a certain angle. Now, one disadvantage of the scope switch is that you're going to be losing a good portion of the real estate on your handguard. However, like we just said, on the 13.7 setup, we were still able to mount the weapon light, the PEC-15, and pressure pack controls. In the scope switch promo video, they were able to mount a laser aiming module on an even shorter setup of 11.5 inches. I can only see the limited rail space being an issue if you're trying to mount like a clip-on night vision device or a thermal device. However, that's where the electronic version will come into play down the road. Now, the last thing I want to note is the weight difference. To me, guys, there wasn't any. When I first saw the setup and understood what it was, I thought it was going to make my gun unbalanced and heavier. It was actually quite the opposite. The Antimatter Industries team used aluminum housing over the gear mechanisms of the channel in order to protect it and keep it lightweight. They then continued that channel with a plastic protection cover. This keeps everything protected while ensuring that the setup does not increase in weight. Well, guys, that's going to wrap up this video. I hope the suspense and the video teasers weren't too bad for you. I know it was killing some of you guys. We got a crap ton of messages regarding this new scope switch product. We do hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give us a thumbs up down below because it does help out the channel, guys. Big shout out and a big thank you to both Flux Defense and Antimatter Industries. Both your teams, guys, we appreciate you coming out to Vegas and showing us this product. Thank you for letting us be part of the launch. We all had a lot of fun, and we are very excited to see all of the success that the Scope Switch and Antimatter Industries brings your team. Guys, if you're new here, please be sure to subscribe to the channel because we post new videos every week. Also check us out on Rumble because we post there too. Thank you as always for watching, and I will see you in the next one.
Same, same, but different. But still same.
The first recording. Here, you guys behind? Are you looking?
Yeah.
Whoosh.
Oh my God, that looks good.
Dude, look what you've done. I like how we're in development of two
Yeah,
products at the same time, and then they like...
Yeah.
Serendipity, baby.
At the same time.
That's going to be such a good teaser. That's the best teaser.